Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Churchboy Confessions. I'm your host, Emmanuel Heke, once again coming to you live from this oven of a room in my mother and father's house. Today, we're going to talk about happiness. We hear it all the time. Follow your heart, happy, whatever makes you happy. We hear all that stuff all the time. But is that really what should be our goal as children of God, to just do whatever makes us happy? Because I think that can be very controversial and problematic at sometimes. So I hope you guys love this episode. I think there's a lot to learn in this episode. If you love it, please like and subscribe. And more importantly, please send it to a friend that needs to hear this message. Please don't be greedy with it. Just, share it with a friend that needs, if they really need it, share it with them. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I love you guys. Once again, I appreciate this all. Enjoy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Flying up this week, but I'm here to tell you that, you can do it.
It's a very present help, helping us.
He will direct your path.
And there you go.
We always hear, happy, like whatever makes you happy, do it. Oh, well, as long as he or she is happy, then that's good. I'm happy. Whatever, all that happiness. I feel like we're all chasing happiness. And we've kind of graduated from thinking that money is supposed to equal happiness. So we're not chasing money anymore, right? Because we're dignified adults. But we still want happiness, so we're chasing happiness. And I always thought to myself, this week, and I was thinking, is happiness the right goal? I feel like it's just what we're conditioned to do. Follow your heart, do whatever makes you happy. Those two sayings is like the whole world. We say those things because we know that like a lot of times we just don't know what we got to do, don't know what to do, whatever. So we just resort to just do whatever makes you happy, follow your heart and all that different stuff. But I wanted to break that down. I wanted to unpack that, because is that the way that us as believers, us that, are following God, want a relationship with God, us that believe in Jesus Christ, is that the way that we are supposed to be walking through life every day, just chasing happiness? And I'm gonna be honest with you, my answer is no. And I'm going to take the rest of this episode to explain to you why chasing happiness is not the reason why you're here. It's not what you're supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be at the top of your list. And you may not like me after this episode. I think you will. You will. I'm just kidding. You may not like me for the first half, but we're going to go in. Everybody wants heaven, right? Everybody wants heaven. Like, even people who don't believe in God, like, talk about heaven. And, when their friends die, like, they say, oh, well, they're in a better place. And everybody likes heaven. Nobody has a problem with heaven. But it's like everybody wants heaven here on earth. Everybody wants to have that perfect life here on earth. And we go on living our entire lives day to day, trying to get that perfect life where we get to that point where we're just happy. We're just happy every day because we're not happy with our lives right now. There's so many problems. We got to get to the point where we have less problems or no problems at all, or at least not financial problems. And then, only then we'll actually be happy. And that's the tale of our lives, happiness. We want heaven here. But I've said this before in other episodes, and I'll say it again, bro, there's only one heaven, and you get to heaven after you die. God did not put us on earth to have heaven on earth. I think that, we don't mean any harm when we say just, follow your heart and be happy. So please, I don't mean to get on nobody's head or whatever, because I know everybody says that. I've said that myself plenty of times. But the thing is, we get tricked into thinking that happiness is always innocent. When somebody is just chasing after happiness, well, they're just following their heart. They're just chasing happiness and they're living a good life. That is not always the case. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand that there are people whose happiness came from killing other people, innocent people. There are racists in this world who are happy when they see another black man or black woman get killed by the police. They're happy. There are bad people in this world that are happy when bad things happen. So are we going to say that, this rule of life is supposed to just be happy and chase after happiness? But it's like, so some people should chase after happiness and other people shouldn't? That's just a very dangerous rule, if you ask me. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. Whose heart departeth from the Lord. You're talking about following your heart. But look what it says in verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things. Oh, snap. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Man, it's not about following your heart. It's about fearing God. Wisdom doesn't come from following your heart. But the Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. I forgot to write what verse that is, but you can just Google it. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. So what that tells me is that if I'm looking to make a wise life decision, it's not about following your heart. It's about fearing God. Respect him. Honor him, recognize his awesomeness, his holiness, his bigness, his character, who he is. Acknowledge that and let that, your knowledge of him, guide the decisions that you make. The Spirit guide the decisions that you make. Lean not on your own understanding. That's another one. I'm going to say this. I wrote this down. When we solely chase after happiness, we change our target goal. The goalpost moves, right? We change our target goal from being God's purpose in our lives to just trying to be comfortable. It changes from, whatever I got to do, just make sure I'm fulfilling God's purpose in life. I'm fulfilling God's purpose in life. It's not about that no more. When we're chasing happiness, now it's about comfort. That's where happiness comes from. Comfort. We want to be comfortable. But you and I both know. Do I even have to say it? Do I even have to say it? God? You know, when it comes to what he wants you to do, he ain't too worried about you just always being comfortable. Whether you believe in Jesus Christ or you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you understand this. That comfort, man, sometimes is the enemy. You recognize that out of the uncomfortable times of your life, a lot of good things have come. But we just chasing happiness. We want happiness. We'll do anything to get to happiness. Meanwhile, God's purpose is just passing us by, but we want to be happy. And let me tell you like this, disclaimer, man, I've said this before and I'll say it again, you know, chasing God's purpose, it's not always happy, comfortable situations. Woo, Paul was in prison while he was writing half the Bible, literally half the Bible, right? He was in prison. I'm sure that wasn't comfortable. I'm sure that there were days where he was like, dang, like this is annoying. I'm sure that if he was chasing happiness, prison wouldn't have been in the plan for that. Now would it? Joy is a product. It's a product. Now, what do you think it's a product of? The Spirit of God in you. You see, you're chasing after happiness. You want the big house, you want the car, you want all these different things that'll make you comfortable, make you feel good about yourself, so then you can finally be happy, right? But what I'm trying to tell you is that you may never get the house, you may never get the car, you may never get the happy family, the whatever. You may never get any of those things. You may never get any of those things. And while you're chasing all of these things, all of the best things in the world, the riches and the respect and all that different stuff, you can lose yourself. But what I want you to understand is that, you know, there's really nothing to chase. You're waiting for the moment to be happy, but when I tell you that joy is a product of the Spirit, let's go to the scriptures, because I said we don't talk about the scriptures. Psalm chapter 16 verse 11, you will show me the path of life. This is the psalmist talking to God. You will show me the path of life. In your presence, God, is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Galatians chapter 5 verse 22 to 23. But the fruit of the Spirit, The product of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Remember, I forgot this stuff last episode. I got it now. Against such there is no law. In this specific, in Galatians, they were comparing what the fruits of the Spirit was to the fruits of the flesh, just to give you context about that Galatians 5 verse. So meanwhile, you're chasing after joy or happiness. You're waiting to get to the point where you're so comfortable and you can be happy. Meanwhile, God is saying that if you have the Spirit in me, your joy is not even dependent on the different things that are happening. Because recognize, we may never get to the point where we have no problems on this life. That's for heaven. That's heaven. So what God is trying to tell us is that through it all, you can have joy. So stop chasing after it. It's here. It's within me. I got it for you. When you walk in the Spirit, I got you. Joy is a product of that. It'll come from that. Every day when you wake up, it'll be a million things that you got to do. But it's like you have a joy in you. Like, man, God is good. God is great. God is my strength. I'm going to get through the day. Oh, I'm low-key spitting.